Here at Sky, we're used to having some of the biggest names in sport drop in to see us. But now we welcome one of the greats onto the ringside set. An Olympic gold medalist, a 5-weight world professional boxing champion, and a man who is near the top of many people's all-time pound-for-pound list. The one and only Sugar Ray Leonard.
I'm on my way, I'm making it. Big time. I'm on my way, I'm making it. Big time. Big time. I got to make it show, yeah. Big time. Big time. So much larger than life. Big time. I'm gonna watch it growing. Big time. My parties have all the big names, and I greet them with the widest smile. Tell them how my life is one big adventure, and always around me. Big time. And the bunch of my big.
Hello there and welcome to a very special ringside as a true boxing legend comes to our set, the 5-weight world champion, the brilliant Sugar Ray Leonard. And once word went around that he was arriving at Sky Studios, many keen to get a glimpse of the great man, hence the special audience with us today, eh, Johnny?
Sugar Ray, welcome on the ringside set. I can't believe it.
Well, thanks, man. And by the way, Adam, that's the smallest ring I've ever seen.
What?
Would you have liked that? No.
Oh, no.
What are you doing in England?
I did book signings, and it's been received very, very well. Meeting a ton of fans and friends, and it's great seeing you again, by the way.
Nice. This is your first official biography, isn't it?
It really is, yes. I mean, there's been a number of books written about me, but they were unauthorized, and this is the first book that second book, I should say, that I attempted to do, because I was writing a book back in 1982 when I first retired many times. I wasn't ready. You know, I was 25, 26. I still had that feeling of fighting again. So I put it on the shelf, and all these years later, it took me 2 years to write this book.
And you've laid yourself bare, haven't you, with the book?
Without question. I didn't expect to be as transparent as I was. My wife was very, very concerned about the revelations I made in the book, from sexual abuse to my drugs and alcohol consumption. It was one of those things where that she, as a mother and as a wife, felt that it was just too much information about my personal demons.
Has it helped talking about it?
Without question. You know, John, it was cathartic writing the book, very therapeutic. I told the world what I didn't tell my therapist. It was tough, though. It was really difficult. It was like a tumultuous, emotional roller coaster. But I was able to get all that stuff, that toxin, out of my system.
Okay, the book's about you, your life. Let's get to the very beginning. How old were you when you first started boxing?
I was 14 when I first put the gloves on. Well, no, I should take that back. I was 8 or 9 when I first put the gloves on, but I took them off when I was 9 because the guy hit me in the nose. And I quit. So I quit before I quit. Then I came back. I was 14 years old. My brother Roger told me to come to the gym. I went down there. I put those gloves back on, and all of a sudden I felt this feeling of empowerment, because this is my sport. It found me, I found it.
You felt like you were in control?
Without question. And although, you know, it took me a while to really gain the experience, but boxing was a sport that made me a better person.
Did you think at that point that you were special, that you had a real talent, or did that develop?
I felt that way, but as the years went by, I knew I was that way. because I was even at the tender age of 14, I was so disciplined, so motivated. Someone asked me, a sports writer asked me, he said, "So what do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be special." I didn't quite know why I said that, but now, looking back in retrospect, I wanted to be special. I just didn't want to be a boxer per se. And I trained so hard. I wanted to be like an Ali. I wanted to be like Joe Frazier. I wanted to be like Elvis Presley. I wanted to be like Bruce Lee. Those were my pictures in my head of making it, of being that person.
I look at your record as an amateur. What was it? 150 amateur fights, winning 45.
Yes.
145.
Unbelievable.
Sparkling record.
That's unbelievable. So at the time, even then, you know, you had your idols, but even then you believed you'd do something special.
Oh, I trained. I mean, my first loss, I mean, I think it was to Duran Hearns in the Golden Gloves, National Golden Gloves, Greg Whaley. I think I lost to some guy from Poland and Russia. I remember those losses, but every time I lost a fight, I would go back to that gym and train so hard. I would run an additional 2 miles. I would work out 5-minute rounds instead of 3-minute rounds. I did everything extra.
The pinnacle, 1976, the Olympics, and a wonderful American team, wasn't it?
The best. I mean, without question. I look back on 1976, the Spinks brothers, Michael and Leon, Howard Davis. I mean, we had such an amazing boxing team. In fact, they only expected us to win one gold medal, but we brought back 5 gold medals. It was awesome.
But were you guys friends because you got Davis, the Spinks brothers, Randolph? It was a good, strong, successful team.
We were a team. I mean, you're right. We were a team because it was then that Howard Davis' mother passed, and he was so devastated. He was going home, and all of us got together and said, "Howard, listen to me, or listen to us. Your mother, although she's passed, she wants you to fulfill your dream of bringing back the gold medal. Do it for her." He stayed, and he brought back the gold medal for his mother.
Now, I don't know if I've got it right in the records, but did you box Clinton McKenzie?
Oh, yes. I beat Clinton in one of the fights. I think it was my 3rd fight. He was fast. He was very fast. I think a lot of times, looking back at it, because he reminded me a lot of myself because he was a good boxer, but he was waiting for me, and he shouldn't wait for me.
Bad move.
Bad move.
What did it feel like winning the gold medal? Is that something that you will always be ever so proud of?
That was one of my most cherished moments, winning that gold medal, man. There's no words can describe the true feeling of having that gold medal draped around your neck, knowing that you've beat the best in the world, and you stand on that pedestal, and the national anthem is being played, man. There's no greater feeling because that wasn't about money. It wasn't about fame. It was about the Olympics, your country.
Was that your aim? Was your aim just to become a gold medalist, or was your aim beyond that? Did you think, I want to get more than this? I'm not hungry.
No. My goal was the Olympics, gold medal, and I was going home, hopefully be on a cereal box, and do commercials and stuff, and go to college. That was my intention. I had no desire whatsoever because all the guys in the camp were saying, "Yeah, man, I can't wait to turn pro." They all were going to turn pro because that gold medal was their stepping stone to pretty much a lucrative boxing career, professional. I wasn't going to turn pro.
So why turn pro just a few months later?
Well, because my dad was sick. My dad went into a coma. My dad had spinal meningitis and tuberculosis. And went into a coma, and we was just distraught. We was devastated. We had no money. And my mentor, James Boyden, said, "Ray, if you turn pro, you can make some quick money." You know, man, I was broken down. I saw my dad, who was a strong man, now weak as a lamb. I turned pro. So within 6 months to a year, he regained his health. And I said to myself, this is not a bad career. It's not a bad job, I should say. And I kept fighting.
What job did you want to do?
You know, I wanted to be a teacher, a counselor. I want to work with kids. You know,
Thank God you were a fighter.
Oh my God! But you know, if I look back at it, ironically, I do work with kids. I still work with people in general because I give back.
Okay, you turned professional. Have you got limits then as a professional? You're thinking, did you ever believe you'd achieve the things you did as a professional?
Well, no. I mean, from my accomplishments, I could never have dreamt that I would have succeeded as much as I have. No one did. I mean, again, I thought about training. I mean, my intentions of turning professional was to make a few dollars. I said in my head, maybe 100,000, maybe. Titles were not in my mind, but once my dad regained health, I said I want to be world champion now.
You were like the original golden boy when you turned professional, though. There was a big hoopla about you turning pro. I read somewhere that your first wage packet was the same as what Marvin Hagler got for boxing out to Firma. You were a big deal. It was a big, just a little. You were a big deal.
No, I fought six rounds, and I fought Louis the Bull Vega in Baltimore, and I made between $40,000 and $50,000 for 6 rounds. That was pretty good.
And pretty good for your dad.
My dad was there. The doctors didn't want him to go because he was so weak, but we convinced the doctors to let him go. And he was so proud, although he was as weak as he was so proud that his son, you know, was a professional fighter. I walked towards him, and we were about to collide. And I said, "Turn away, Ray." I said, "No, I gotta find out for sure if he's afraid of me or he respects me." And we got this close. I said, "Oh my God, I am doomed."
I think Sugar Ray Leonard was the sort of next in line to Muhammad Ali. Ali was a hero, and then, you know, Olympic champion who went with Angela Dundee, and then next on that conveyor line was the great Sugar Ray Leonard. And I think, you know, he was excitement. He was a wonderful, wonderful boxer who talked well, who looked well, but he could fight.
Certainly one of the greatest boxers I've ever met. You know, his talk, everything about him, he was so clued in. When he fought someone, he looked at videos, he did everything to see exactly how they were. And he would come up with his own brain to beat them. And that's what he did. That's why he's one of the greatest ever.
He's a nice guy in and out the ring. You know, he's a prime example of, you know, where, you know, boxers, you know, I mean, he's so eloquent, so, you know, the way he talks, you know, dead knowledgeable on boxing, looks after himself, you know. If I was, you know, in training, you know, if anyone wanted to know how should I act being a boxer, anyone I was training or anyone I was promoting, I would say go and watch a tape of Sugar Ray Leonard in and out the ring. Just an absolutely top-class, you know, individual in every sense of the word.
I mean, it's in the same era as I was boxing in anyway, and I was one of those boxers where I say, I hope I don't have to meet up with him because he would probably take me apart. I mean, I'd stand a chance in a certain way. I'd be in the ring and not being, not being hit, probably getting caught, but I wouldn't want to fight him. He was a great fighter, definitely, brilliant fighter.
Just a great era. Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns. I mean, epic fights, battles that took place of all time. Whether we'll see those kind of fights again in the near future is who knows, but absolute legend of the sport. And like I said, I'm honoured to say that I actually met him a few years ago. He came to Bristol, and yeah, just an absolute idol of the sport.
He's a role model, he's intelligent, and you see sometimes people see boxing as a brutal sport, which it is. You know, you've got to go in there and give it all, you've got your warrior, but when you step out the ring, people like to know the man behind the gloves, and he presents himself real well.
In my opinion, for what it's worth, he was one of the greats. Brilliant, box fight, clever, crafty, cunning. You had to nail him to the floor to beat him, wouldn't give in. You know, to me, it was something special.
We all had fighters we tried to mimic, tried to copy, tried to be like when we got in the ring, when the bell went. Mine was yours now and again, but unfortunately our size is a bit different. Yeah. So who was yours when you turned professional? Who did you want to try and copy?
Joe Frazier, man. I was like Joe Frazier. Oh, yeah. Oh, my first style was Joe Frazier.
But you're nothing like Joe Frazier.
Oh, no, I was. And my man Kenny Chevalier can tell you.
Not the memories we have.
I would knock guys out cold with left hooks. And then I saw Ali fight Joe Frazier, and after the fight I saw Ali's face, I saw Joe's face. I started boxing like Ali. because there was no longevity. I mean, Joe was my man. I loved Joe's style.
That's fascinating.
But I wanted to fight like Ali.
So even when those two fought each other, was you rooting for Joe or was you rooting for Ali?
I was kind of caught up in between both. I kept straddling the fence. I was rooting for Joe and rooting for Ali too, because I mean, Joe was my idol too, and Ali was my idol, and the guy who won.
What about calling yourself Sugar, though? I mean, that added some pressure after Ray Robinson.
Well, my real name is Ray Charles, after the singer. I can't sing a lick. Even in the shower, I can't sing. Sugar, because Sugar Ray Robinson was the ultimate Sugar, and I watched tapes of his fights, man. I mean, he was such a thing of class and beauty, and I said, I'm gonna call myself Sugar Ray.
Your first world title against Wilfred Benitez. This guy, his nickname I think was the Radar. You couldn't touch this guy. Nobody could touch him.
He was awesome.
An outstanding fighter. And you schooled him.
He was a prodigy. He was an amazing guy. They don't mention him in the same breath as Hearns, Hagler, and myself.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's a worse mistake because maybe he didn't have the defining moments or the additional defining moments, and he wasn't a part of that whole group. But he was so good, he was so amazing. After that fight, I went to the hospital for dehydration. I beat him on attrition, I beat him on desire, I beat him on with heart. He had more experience than me, more talent than I did. I just had more heart.
You got to him in the end, right at the end.
Wore him down. Because I think my hand speed proved to be a major factor.
Yeah, your first defence was against England's Dave Boy Green. You broke a few hearts.
Well, he cooperated. Dave Boy Green.
Some
in fact,
knockout.
The general consensus felt that I would walk through David, and it was hard for me to get up for him because I was the favorite and everything. What happened in the ring? David looked at me and kind of growled, and he kind of teed me off. And he made me become more aggressive. And I told him after the fight, I said, man, you know what? Thanks for making me mad.
Pretty thank you.
Yeah, he said, well, thanks, Ray. But, David and I remained friends. I mean, all these years later, because I came over here on the QE2 back in, I think it was like 82 or 83.
What was that like?
I did a documentary about my life. And I went to visit David at home. And he's come to Los Angeles and visited me at home. And we've remained friends.
Welcome to a new world. Your first loss, Roberto Duran. How did that feel?
Oh my God, I think back to the fight. That was another time I contemplated retirement. I was so beat up from that fight. I took so many punches from that fight. I mean, after the fight, I had contusions, I had cauliflower ears. Duran was a monster, but he also taught me psychological warfare because he got into my head, because he cursed me out, he cursed my wife out, cursed my kid out. He just did things that were like, I wasn't used to, because I was taught that if there's a camera, you smile. And he would give me the finger and gestures and all that. I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? I thought it was crazy. So in the fight, I said, I'm gonna beat him at his own game. And it locked in, and there was no change in my mind. I fought Duran flat-footed, which was not smart, which was dumb. And for 15 rounds, we went toe-to-toe, man.
But you lasted the distance. A lot of guys, Duran was walking through guys, and a boxer, a pretty boy, ended up fighting a man at his own game.
Yeah, but it wasn't smart, John. It was not smart. I mean, they called Duran Manos de Piedras, hands of stone. I swear to God, I felt just like stone. He hit so hard. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
But the amazing rematch. Famous for no mass, of course, but you got it right.
Yep, now we're talking. That fight, the second fight, I decided to fight Duran quickly because I knew his lifestyle, because he would gain so much weight. He'd go from 147 to probably almost like 180 to 200 pounds. So I wanted to fight him right away. And plus, that night in Montreal, I didn't want to fight, because fighters know in the dressing room if you're going to win or lose, because sometimes you don't have your A game. If you don't have your A game in a fight,
do you really know that before the?
You feel it.
Oh, have you been in the dressing room? You just didn't feel like fighting that night.
Every fight.
Yeah, every fight. Yeah, every fight. I just didn't feel it, man. I just didn't feel it. And I wanted to say to the fans, do you guys mind if we postpone this for a couple of days? Because I would have beat him 2 days later. Or the next day, I would have beaten him. But, you know, I went home with that loss, man, and it was hard. It was hard swallowing that pill of defeat. My first loss. But I knew that if I fought him my way, I would beat him. And I did that.
Do you think Angelo Dundee's input into the tactics, as well as yours, had a massive influence in the success in the rematch?
The tactics that I portrayed in the second fight, the No Mas fight, was by my brother Roger. He said, Ray, you have to make Duran mad. You push his head down. You don't let him hit you. You make people laugh at him. I said, boy, you crazy? That's Duran. And this happened extemporaneously because you don't train that way. So I'm in the fight. I'm moving around. And then all of a sudden I did that, and he did that. I did that. He looked at me, and I did this, and then pow! Oh, I love that part. And he was so upset that people were laughing at the great Roberto Duran, that he threw his hands up in frustration, I believe, without realizing the repercussions it would have on his legacy.
And there were big repercussions.
Major. But Duran's he's a legend, without question. But check this out. The guy who sang the national anthem, America the Beautiful, was my namesake, Ray Charles, because that's my name.
Yeah.
And Ray Charles, I mean, I felt confident anyway, beating Duran, but when I met Ray Charles, of all places in the ring, I was like, man, you're in trouble. So when Ray Charles finished singing, he came over to me, gave me a big hug, big kiss. He said, kick his ass.
Did he say that?
He did say that.
You shared the ring 3 times with Roberto Duran. Do you feel you were the superior boxer, fighter? Were you as good as each other? Looking back, who was better?
Duran, without question, was a great fighter inside. He was just a monster. Perpetual motion. But what I would do with fighters, I would visualize. I would choreograph fights in my head. If I was fighting you, I knew that I was a lot faster than you. I knew that I hit harder than you, and I knew that you couldn't go no more than 2 rounds. So I would envision this, and I would write the script, and I would carry it through.
You won a light middleweight title against Ayab Kalouli, who beat my friend Harold Graham a few years later for the European title.
Yes.
And then you stepped up again to box Tommy Hearns.
Yes. Well, Kalouli was.
Oh, sorry, you went down to welterweight.
No, you're right. You're right. I fought Kalouli, then I fought Hearns.
Yeah.
Kalouli was very, very tough. I mean, it was unorthodox, and he had a lot of stamina and just a good chin. But I wore him down. I just wore him down. He caught me with some pretty good shots too. But I remember those fights like it was yesterday.
To me, that was the best I'd ever seen of you, especially the 13th round. It must have been one of the rounds that's shown so many times when it comes to boxing. The pressure, the pace. And looking at your record, you seem to always know at the back end of a fight, even if you were behind on points, to put the pressure on the back end of a fight.
It was those 15 rounds, which made a major difference, because going down the stretch, 12, 13, 14, 15, that's when I came on stronger. And,
so you were a better fighter because of the 15 rounds than you would have been today over 12?
Because I normally come on really, really strong, because I had that ability to kind of reach down and come up with some stuff.
But then you came back, boxed him again. Only had 4 fights in between the rematch with Hearns. I think it was 1989, was it?
I don't remember
years. Yeah, but
that fight there with Tommy Hearns in '89, Tommy should have won the decision. He should have won that fight. It was a tough fight because, listen, everyone said Tommy is shot. Even my camp said, well, one punch, he's gone. And I'm saying to myself, when Tommy fights me, he's going to rise to the occasion. I don't care how bad he looked. I don't care how shot he looked as a fighter. When he fought me, when guys fight me, they rise to the occasion. And Tommy did that. And he hurt me so many times. I knew then I should have retired after the Hearns fight, even after the Hagler fight.
He was a terrifically exciting fighter, Tommy Hearns, a freak of nature in
many ways.
Freak of
nature, yes. Have you told him that before?
I loved him as a kid. I really did.
Tommy, and a sweetheart, man. But when he's in the ring, he's a killer.
You guys, what's your relationship at the moment? You and
great.
Tommy?
I mean, Tommy calls me periodically on my cell phone. Hey, Ray. I say, Tommy, hey, man, how much do you weigh? Why? Why? You know? But we're trying to work on, we're actually trying to put together a project, a TV show that we're considering.
In the first fight, how close did you come to losing?
Oh, that was the first fight in '81 was. If the fight had went the distance, he would have won the fight. I mean, Tommy had compiled a lot of points up in the early rounds. I couldn't get through to his jab. His jab was, you know, so quick and powerful. I couldn't get in.
So what did you see? How did you figure out? How did you sort that puzzle out?
You know, man, we all have that reservoir, but what separates us is the guys who are able to activate it. And when Angelo said, "You're blowing it, son, you're blowing it," I knew what he meant. He said the right things at the right time, and I got off that stool. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I hit him, I hurt him, I never let up.
The boxing world, of course, recently lost Angelo Dundee. Yes. What a great life he had. But the people were saying straight away about that, "You're blowing it, son, you're blowing it." And it was that important to you in that fight against Hearns.
He said the right soundbite. Angelo was magic in that ring, in the corner. He didn't really train me per se. I had the other guys, Jenks Morton and Pepe Carrera and Dave Jacobs. They trained me, but Angelo would come in there 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the Hagler fight, a month or so, for the finishing touches, you know, and also to talk with the press. He was that good.
Hagler.
Huh. Here we go.
We're going to talk about it.
Hagler. Yes. Hagler, you know.
What were your feelings before the fight, and what have your feelings been in the years since it?
I can tell you, when I retired, '82, I considered coming back. Then I saw Tommy Hearns and Hagler. I said, well, maybe I'm not coming back, because I mean, he was a monster. And it wasn't until I saw him fight John the Beast Mugabe. I said, you know what? I see something. I can beat him. And we announced the fight. People thought I was crazy. My family thought I was crazy, because I'm small, and I wasn't living a clean life. So people knew from seeing me socially. But I got in the best shape.
That was the drink and drugs.
Drink and drugs, yeah. I was doing all that. I was hanging out with the sports writers. We, you know, after
Did
the
it
fight,
really affect your training? And
no, I gave myself time to clean my body. I trained for like a year to clean my body out, to focus, to get used to getting hit again. Because you have to get used to getting hit again. Because we become, when we retire at a certain level, you become civilized.
Were you lured by the party life, by everyone hanging on to you? And
Yeah, I read somewhere that it was the night he boxed Mugabe at a party that you decided, you know what, I want to fight him with a drink in your hand. You think?
Oh, but Hagler had come to visit me and help me open my little restaurant bar in Maryland, and he came down. We having a few drinks, and I said, Marvin, by the way, congratulations on your last fight with Mugabe. I said, so who's next? He said, you know what, Ray, it's getting harder and harder to train. I said, no shit. And I said, so who's next? He said, man, I don't know, man, I cut easy. I said, no shit. So that night, I kind of got some additional information. And he got mad that I used that to lure him in.
So from that point onwards, you knew, you already knew that's what you were going to do. You were going to set it.
Yeah, to a degree, to a large degree. But you know, I kind of figured that Hagler was like me. He had reached the pinnacle. He'd beaten everybody, so he wasn't really that invested in boxing. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's get to the fight. How confident?
Tactics.
Yeah, how confident were you of beating marvelous Marvin Hagler?
I felt I could beat him in my head, but just overall, there still was a question, because I mean, I'm fighting Marvin Hagler. But you know, I got almost knocked out by Quincy Taylor about 5 days before the fight. So my team said, no way Ray has a chance. But because I was on slug with Hagler. That was my game plan, to try to cut him. So when that punch happened and no one said anything, everyone got quiet. I said, you know what, I think I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna box him. And I boxed him. Thank God that did happen. Thank God I got hit in the gym, and I boxed Hagler.
So that changed it all?
Oh, without question. 5 days before the fight, I changed the strategy.
You know, it's not just about what you did physically, so what you did mentally as well, being able to outthink fighters, wind them up, get them mad, get them angry, get into the psyche. That seems to be a pattern all the way through your career.
Yes. I never said, the thing with Hagler, I remember that night in the ring, I walked towards him. You walk around the ring. I walked towards him, and we were about to collide. And I said, "Turn away, Ray." I said, "No, I gotta find out for sure if he's afraid of me, or he respects me." And we got this close. I said, "Oh my God, I am doomed." And he turned away.
He turned away.
Champions, if I walk towards you during the fight, I'm gonna walk right through you. I'm gonna bump you. I'm the champ. That's my domain. So when we did that, he demonstrated to me that he respected me more so than he talks. You know what I mean?
Hagler walked out of the sport bitter as anything. Is he still with you?
He doesn't call me for my birthday.
Do you call him on his birthday?
No, but I saw Hagler for the Ali birthday celebration in Las Vegas. We embraced.
You did?
Oh, without question. I mean, there's mutual respect.
Was it just one of those eras, the four kings? Did you all make each other?
We made each other. Without Tommy, it wouldn't be me. Without Hagler, there wouldn't be Duran. We made each other.
The introduction of the super middleweight division came with you against Donnie Lalonde, former light heavyweight world champion. He was bigger than you in every way, tall order.
Yep. He was taller and stronger. He hurt me bad. He was a big puncher. I beat him on heart. A little more talent.
Did you want to walk away after that fight?
You know what? I was going through I was separated from my wife, so I was in limbo, man. I always go to the ring to feel safe. I always go back to the ring. I kept making comebacks because
why
I felt safe.
there so many retirements? And actually, only 40 fights over a long period of time, whereas Vladimir Klitschko, for example, just had his 60th fight. You didn't actually fight that often.
Exactly. I didn't fight that often, but I kept coming back in like 3 years or 6 year intervals. It was crazy. It was really, people thought it was crazy.
But did it keep you fresh in some way?
You know what? Looking back in retrospect from what I've consumed, from the alcohol, the drugs, and it kept me clean.
How did your life outside of the ring affect you in the ring? Because you're saying there was alcohol, there was drugs.
Right.
What if that didn't exist? Do you think you'd have gone on a lot longer? Do you think you'd have boxed a lot more?
That's Johnny, that's so hypothetical. I don't know, because I don't. At that time, I didn't know me, because I was searching for that tranquility. I was searching for that serene. I wasn't. When I split with my wife and my family, I wasn't happy. I wasn't really happy, man. I was dying inside because of all the other things that had laid in my heart. I was still dealing with that, and so the drinking and the drugs kind of was a Band-Aid.
You still just had that one loss to Duran. You came back, fought Terry Norris and Hector Camacho, both defeats. Do you regret that?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember?
That wasn't me.
Oh my God! You know what? I fought Terry Norris. God, he beat the crap out of me. And then I fought.
But were you in a bad way in your life at that time?
Yeah, I was in a bad. Oh man, I wasn't ready to fight. I wasn't mentally ready. I wasn't mentally sound. And people ask me, do I regret those fights? Even with Camacho, I was 40 years old. No. The only thing I regret in my life, in my career, I regret if I hurt someone, particularly my first wife and my kids. I don't regret the drugs, the alcohol, because I am who I am because of those challenges. I want to fight you. You. I'm serious.
We had like and love for each other, but being a fighter and knowing that we had to go against each other, we had to have some kind of animosity for each other at the time. But now that it's all over, we can do what we want to say, what we want to say to each other, and not have a problem.
It was a major fight. It was for the undisputed welterweight crown, and Tommy fought a fight that no one thought he could fight, including myself, when he became a boxer in the late rounds. And I became a slugger in the late rounds, and it turned out to be one great fight, a highly anticipated fight that lived up to the expectations. And who was your favorite again?
My favourite was Tommy Hearns. Listen,
And he's interviewing me. Look at this guy.
Well, he being honest, Ray.
I'm being honest. I was 13. When Hagler knocked him out, I cried.
Oh, you did cry?
Yeah, you know, I cried too, damn it.
I cried too. I cried too. We all cried.
Sometimes I still want to cry.
All three of us
man.
cried. Huh?
We all thought you were a ring genius. How good do you think you were, looking back now?
Well, it's hard for me to pat myself on the back, but I know fully well that the way I accomplished what I've accomplished was through strategies and tactics, and, you know, I wasn't physically stronger than those guys. I may have been faster, but I used psychological warfare and I used tactics.
Was it
to
the
win.
smile and the personality as well?
That helped a little bit, I think. Maybe, but
just a little bit.
It's a little strong.
Do you think you could have fought and competed at such a level in any era?
Oh, without question. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But you ask any fighter that. If he says no, he's not a fighter. You with me?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
with you.
you get, I mean, come on. Yes.
Since you finally called it a day, over the next sort of 15, 20 years, has there been anyone that you've seen who'd have thought, I'd love to have fought him? Mayweather or a Calzaghe or anyone?
I kept saying, you know, I can beat Adam. I can beat him, man. I want to fight you. You. I'm serious.
No, you're not.
Never.
Johnny, you can't step in.
How do you think you'd have gone in against Mayweather?
You know, I get that question asked all the time.
You fought his dad, so we're not
Yeah,
talking his dad,
yeah.
we're talking the boy, the son.
He's good. I mean, he's extremely talented. Listen, when I stepped into that ring, I felt I could beat anybody. I don't care who it was. I was gonna give it a shot.
Anyone in history you'd have loved to have fought?
No. Listen, I had
You were in a wonderful time.
I had my day in the sun. I've been in an era where it was great champions. Listen, I have nothing to feel, bad about or neglected. I fought them all in my time, and that's all I need.
How's life today? I know you got involved with the Contenders series. You worked with Paul Smith, didn't you?
Paul is my guy, yeah. We keep in contact with Facebook and stuff. But man, listen, I mean, I love the Contender. I hope it comes back. I hop on Facebook. I started my website. And that's how sometimes I get in contact with Paul Smith. I have a foundation called Sugar Ray Leonard Foundation, and we've had charities, and we raise money and awareness for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. You know, I work with Hugh Jackman. My book now will become a movie. I mean, life is wonderful, man. Life is challenging, but life is great, and I'm so happy to.
I was going to play you in a movie.
Probably Brad Pitt.
Okay, listen. Boom. Okay. London's hosting the Olympics this year. Have you got any interest in any of the guys that are taking part in the boxing?
You know what? I'm not familiar with any names. In fact, I was coming here. There's a guy, Terry, I was supposed to have met to let me see the facilities and what have you. But my wife and I are still planning. My family actually is still trying to find a way over here.
Boxing always goes in cycles, of course. We hope that London 2012 will find the next batch of would-be superstars. How can we get boxing back to what it was in your day?
I think, well, I know the fact that we need to just strengthen our amateur program, more fights for the kids, more experience for the kids. International competition is vital. That way you'll see more stars. That way you'll see more talent. That way, boxing will get back to where it used to be.
In America, it seems like the amateurs and the professionals are hand in hand. They work closely together. And at one point, you were dominating the world, amateur and professional. Do you think we should take that same approach here? The amateurs and the pros should work closer together in the UK to get that same success?
I think that the same thing applies to the UK. The fact that there should be a lot more amateur competition, a lot more support and sponsorship for the amateur programs. Put it this way, even forget the fights and what have you, but boxing is a great sport. that, especially inner city kids, that gives them a sense of self, keeps them off the streets, out of trouble and what have you. Boxing's a great factor.
What about the state of the game today for the professionals? I mean, the heavyweight scene, the Klitschko's are dominating. You know, what's happening in America?
We don't have a heavyweight champion.
Why?
You guys took it. You know, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it's just a strange thing. It's a strange phenomenon.
Do you think someone will come through? On the stateside?
You know, put it this way. I think there's always that point where a bright star shines in the Olympics. I think so. I feel so.
Okay, did you watch off the subject a little, did you watch the Khan-Peterson fight?
I did. I saw the fight.
Who do you think won?
I thought it was a fight that could have went either way. I think it was a fight that, first of all, we all thought that Khan was going to win easily. I did too. And that's my homie. But the fight became closer than expected. It was a close fight. It could have went either way.
What mistakes do you think you did in that fight for it to be so tight?
Just needs to be more aggressive and more active. Khan is so talented. I mean, I'm so impressed with his artillery, what he has. I mean, he has a whole package. First of all, he can fight. He's a good-looking kid. He has it all. He just has to put it to use.
Could become a marquee name, of course, in the next couple of years. He's got to get past Peterson again, who had a fantastic night in December because of where he's come from. I mean, living on the streets, a terrible upbringing.
Peterson will be tougher now because he's gained a little bit more confidence. So it's going to be even a better fight, a more highly action-filled fight.
How would you have coped against Sugar Ray Robinson?
I wouldn't have fought him.
Yes!
You wouldn't have
We've
fought
got someone
him?
he's backed up against. Shane Mosley on his day.
Me against Shane?
Yeah?
I beat him.
Sugar's?
Matter of fact.
Yeah, beat him. And Sugar's my man, too. Beat them all.
Are you, as a fighter, it's hard to say, you know what, I'm happy. I'm happy to be out of the game. You know, you boxed on at times when you look back and think, I shouldn't have boxed on. Are you content to your position in life?
That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that kind of question because, I mean, listen, I'm 55. I'm respected around the world. I've had nothing short of illustrious boxing career. You know, I fought in the greatest era in the world. You know, I'm still active, relevant. I'm doing wonderful things, charities, and that. Hey, you know, does I ever think about fighting that guy? Yeah, I mean, I'm a fighter. I'm always gonna be a fighter. When I'm 80 years old, I'm gonna say, I can take that guy. I'm gonna say that.
Because it's inside you.
It's inside of me. It would never go away. You know, I can say I don't think about boxing. That's a lie. I think about it. I mean, it's not in my head every day, but every now and then I'll sit and watch a fight and I say, I got that. I can do that.
3 questions. Who was your hardest fight in your whole career as a professional?
You know, it's really hard but Tommy was a monster, man. Tommy was so, I mean, it's like death. Even Duran 1 was like death. Those 2 fights. Benitez was like death. So it's not one. I can't say one because I remember how I felt during the 13th round, the 14th round, the 15th round. I mean, it's like, when does it end? When does it end?
Proudest moment of your career?
The proudest moment of my career, my boxing career? Tommy Hearns, because that was to unify the welterweight crown. That was big. That was one of my most, if not the most, defining moment in my boxing career.
And did you accomplish everything you ever dreamt of as a professional?
That and much more. That and much more. 10 times, 20 times, 1,000,000 times over.
You've had your 3. How happy are you in life today?
Extremely happy. I'm extremely happy, and I'm present, which what my wife would say back in the day. You're not present. I never quite understood what she meant by that, but now I understand. I'm present. I'm here. I'm in London. I'm talking to you guys, and I meet my fans, and life is good. My dad, who'll be 90 in June, still living. My mom, 83, feisty, still living. So, I mean, I'm a blessed man.
Wow. No regrets?
No regrets.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks, babe. Good.
You're looking good.
Thank you very much.
Your love lifted me higher than I've ever been lifted before. With all the talent, with all the ability, he never got on his high horse and looked down at people. He was always one of the crowd. He was always one that you looked at and you had respect for him without even speak for him. His body language, his facial movement, and he got, if you look at him, he had a smile that would lift you off your seat. Higher and higher, I said your love.
Could box, could fight, you know, a real all-rounder. Sugar Ray Leonard, there was nothing he couldn't do in that boxing ring. He was a great boxing tactician, great thinker, hand speed. He could stand there toe-to-toe and slug it out. You know, if you wanted to teach someone how to do his footwork, how to use combination punching, how to use the ring, how to use defence, watch Sugar Ray Leonard and you won't go far wrong.
Yeah, I just love watching his fights. Used to watch videos of his fights, you know, the Fabulous Four with Hagler, Hearns and Duran as well, you know, just watching him, just the showmanship, just his all-round ability. He was just skilled, completely skillful.
Not many people could ever take the namesake of Sugar Ray after Ray Robinson held that mantle, you know, as probably the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time. But if there was anybody that deserved to hold it, and I think Sugar Ray Robinson would agree, it was Sugar Ray Leonard.
You guys brought some out of me I wasn't expecting to talk about.
That's very brilliant.
That was good, man. Thank you.